Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today's class is all about knowing your body measurement and measurement. So today we're going to talk about the various body measurements. So if you see, I've labeled some parts, for easy understanding. So we're going to start with the shoulder. Now this is the shoulder line. You are going to get you check from where your collarbone starts from, like you're just going to feel it yourself where you're measuring your client. So for this one, we're going to take here. So can you see? Now for this one, it's giving us 14 for her shoulder. That's like one of the important parts. You have to get your shoulder measurement first. Now the next thing you have to get is your shoulder to bust point. Your shoulder to bust point is very, very important, especially if you are making padded outfits and corsets. So for this dummy, shoulder to bust point, your bust point is directly on your nipple. Like anytime you talk about bust point, it's directly on your nipple. So for her bust point is 9.5. Can you see 9.5 is sitting directly on her nipple? That's her bust point. Now another thing is this bust span. Bust span, most people call it nipple to nipple, but I call it bust span. So as the name implies, nipple to nipple. So from the first nipple to the second nipple of hers is 7. This is very, very important too in padded outfits. Now another thing we're going to get is the bust circumference. Now the bust circumference is round the bust, around your nipple point. If you're taking your bust measurement, always take the tape round your nipple point, because it is believed that your nipple point is the biggest part of your bust. Like it's the fuller and fullest part of your bust. Fuller or fullest, anyone, is the fuller part of your bust. So you just take it round it like this, and that is it. So this is the bust circumference. Round your bust is the bust circumference. Please, if you're measuring your bust circumference, always try to make sure you hold the tape accurately. Make sure the tape passes through the back folds. For people that have back folds, make sure the tape passes through the back folds and all, just to give you accurate measurements. So for her bust circumference is 33. Now another thing we have to get is the under bust. But for me, most times I don't use my under bust line. I use the waistline as the under bust line because it's almost the same measurement. Now for your waistline, you take your shoulder down to this part. So how most people get their part and their waist part is there's always a curve, like an inch or 2 inches above your navel. That's just how you get your waistline. Now we don't use lower waist. You can only use lower waist if there's a style you want to sew, and the lower waist is like here. But for this class, we're using only the upper waistline, which is the accurate waistline. So for this, we are getting here. You always try to check the part that is curved inside. Look at this part now. If you are coming like this curved part here, like this curve where you can put your hand in, is quite flexible in humans. That's the waistline. That's the part you take as your waistline. Then you just measure around it to get your waist circumference. So for her waist circumference is 24. This is it. So you're seeing where I'm measuring. For most human beings, they always have their navel here. So for you to get your waistline, it's either you put your hand on the customer's waist or you just go 1 inch or highest 2 inches above your navel. That's where you get your waistline. Now to get our half length, if you're making a dress, there's something we call half length. And in that half length, they have the front half length, they have the back half length. We all know front and back measurements are always different, because for the front part, we have a bust, and for the back part, there's no bust in the upper part, but there's a bum at the lower part. So when you're taking your measurements, you always take the upper part of the body, the lower part of the body, front and back, you're taking them separately. The upper part of the back, the lower part of the back, the upper part of the front, the lower part of the front. You make sure you take them accurately. Now for the front half length, if you are taking your half length, you make sure you pass your tape directly on your bust. See where I kept my seal tape, this paper tape. Make sure you follow the line. That's why I have to put all these things, just so you understand better. Follow the line. Take it, run on top your bust, take it till you reach that part. Now for this dummy, her half length is 16. Her front half length is 16. You see how I measured it? My tape is directly on my bust down to this part, which is 16. Now for the back half length, see, I already kept the tape there. You see the waistline, the paper, this is it. So it's the same waistline front and back, but it's not the same measurement for the half length. Now for the back half length, you place your tape on the shoulder down to the waistline. Can you see? Her back half length is 13, while her front half length is 16. That's like 3 inches different. For most people, it's 2 inches, some people 2.5, some people 3, some people 3.5. I think 3.5 is the highest I've seen. Some people as low as 1.5. It just depends on the body type. But for her body type, her back half length is 13. So meaning her front half length is bigger than her back half length by 3. You know why the front half length is bigger? Because of the bust. That is it. But if you are taking your waist circumference, it's the same thing, because you have to pass your tape around it front back. So that one is the same thing. Now, this over bust line. For most people, the over bust line is always this line directly on your bust. Yes. So, and if for you to get the accurate measurement to take your over bust from, anything you get from here to here, that's automatically what you will take up. For most people, why some people is not like that. So for our own, we are getting 4 here and we are getting 4. So if I want it to show cleavage, I'm going to take my over bust, like since it's 4 down here, I'm automatically going to bring 4 up here. Then take my measurement for the over bust just to show cleavage. But if I don't want to show cleavage, I'm going to take it up by 1 or 2 inches to cover the entire bust. So that's why I put my tape here on this over bust line. But if you want your cleavage to show, definitely you can come down to as many inches as you want to. It just depends on your measurement. Now, this is the shoulder to bust point, which I've explained. The shoulder to under bust. If you are taking under bust for your client, make sure you put the tape directly under their bust. And another tip, if you are measuring your client, make sure they are wearing a tight bra. So you adjust the hand of the bra very well to make sure the breast is firm. Because if the breast is not firm and you take a measurement, you might have different measurements. Let's say for instance, now this person is not putting on bra. Her nipple to nipple, instead of 9.5, it might come down to like 10.5. And now when I make a padded outfit for her, you see that it's shaking, like for her bust point, it might not be firm. So it's always advisable to tell your clients to wear a tight bra if they are coming, just so you get the accurate measurement. Now for the hip line, if you are taking your hip measurement, make sure you get the fullest part of your hip. That's how you take your hip measurement. Now, you see why I kept my tape? I already kept it around the fullest part of the hip. Now, to get the hip circumference, just take your tape round the fullest part. If you don't know the fullest part yet, you can adjust your tape up, down until it gets so tight. See how I'm adjusting my tape? Now, the tape is tighter on this part. That's how I automatically got my hip circumference. See, it's not slow. If you take it here, it is tight, this part, which automatically brings us to 39.5. That means for her hip circumference is 39.5. Now, your waistline to your hip line. The accurate measurement, the standard accurate measurement for waistline to hip line is 10. Can you see my tape? My tape is directly on 10. So if you are confused or if you forgot to take your client in their waist to hip line, just automatically use 10. 10 is accurate for most people. Then if the person is maybe very short, you can use 9. but 10 is very, very accurate. So I'm using 10, and see automatically is on 10 here. Now another thing is your knee line. If you are taking your knee measurements, waist to knee, you don't go directly on top the knee. You go 2 inches above your knee. You don't take your measurement directly on your knee bone. No, you don't take it directly on your knee bone. You go 2 inches above your knee bone. That's this place I measured now. So her knee measurement is 25, but I took my tape 2 inches above and I got 23. So from her waist to knee is 23 instead of 25. Now if you're taking your knee measurements, especially for trousers, just take it directly on this line. That's it. Very easy. So if you have more questions, you can always drop questions in the comment section and I will reply. So now this is the back chest line, which is just, if you check the line, is the same curve from the front side to the back.